Hi guys, welcome back to the Seb Shirts channel, and today we're not talking about football shirts, as you might be confused, as I always talk about football shirts, but today we're talking about the hunkiest of the hunks, the Irish guy. So today we're obviously, as you can see by the thumbnail, talking about the Irish guy, and usually I'm subscribed to the Irish guy. I've watched all his videos.
Nice.
Been watching him for years, but he made a video recently that really piqued my interest, really got me going, and that was a video about Declan Rice. And as you guys know, I'm a big Arsenal fan, and I love the Declan Rice signing. I think it's perfect for what we need, but the Irish guy has made it very clear that he really does not agree. So if you guys never watched the Irish guy before, he's Irish, obviously.
That's insane.
And he really does not like Jack Grealish or Declan Rice on the basis of they used his country to progress their career because they didn't think they were going to play for England at that time, but they used Ireland as a jumping board, which I can kind of understand. But the dude, man, just needs to get over it. I don't even think he's probably... How long it's taken him to get over this? He's probably not even gotten over One Direction breaking up yet. He's just the saltiest guy when it comes to this signing, and I really wanted to talk about the video because it really piqued my interest, and I've got some opinions about things he says. As I said, watch the Irish guy, I love his content, but this one really piqued my interest, and I really want to talk about it. And I live with my girlfriend, and she really couldn't give a flying tit, so I'm going to talk to you guys about it instead. So yeah, if you enjoy the content, please hit that like button. We're now going to try on this channel to upload 2 videos a week. I'm going to do a video about football in general, and obviously my usual football shirt upload. So 2 videos a week, hopefully, talking about football and talking about football shirts. So if you have any ideas for any subjects you want me to talk about, link them in the description. And this is the first video I'm going to make that's not about football shirts, and it is, as you can see, about the Irish guy. And yeah, let's jump straight into the video. And yeah, we're going to watch along, and I'm going to talk about it in sections on responding to things he says, and then telling you why that opinion is wrong, and why, just basically this whole video is driven by saltiness, it seems, and he really does not think it's a good sign. Well, I don't think he's necessarily saying it's a bad sign. I think what he's saying is the money is ridiculous, but I think it's just he's getting his own biases in a way. But yeah, I'm going to show you what I mean. Let's get into the video.
Flavor to describe Declan Rice. Oh, it's vanilla. I'm sorry, but what does everybody see in him? Look, I know, okay, I know, okay, I'm not blind in both eyes. I don't have some sort of evil toad living in my brain causing me to hallucinate every time Rice touches the ball. Don't worry, okay, I don't suddenly see the ghost of Glenn Whelan every time he tries to pass the ball.
Well, first off, called Declan Rice vanilla, and if Declan Rice is any flavour, it's definitely not vanilla. He's something exotic, like a mango or a salted caramel. Actually, maybe the Irish guy's a salted caramel, but he's exotic. He's lovely. I know he's English, but you know he's lovely, isn't he? Look at him, lovely. But in all seriousness, I think everyone's hyped about him because it's Declan Rice. At his age, he's 24, and he's already one of the best midfielders in the league. He walks into any team in the league. I think why Arsenal fans are getting so excited is because Arsenal finally signed a player since Santi Cazorla and maybe Mesut Ozil, the last players we bought. We'll probably get into most teams, but we've bought a player that would walk into any team on the planet. Maybe not Real Madrid because of their midfield depth, but definitely any team in the league, and that's why people are excited. And if you look at I know the Irish guy doesn't always go by statistics, but if you look at he has one of the best progressive passes, progressive dribbles and take-ons in the league. He's one of the best CDMs in the league statistically as well, playing for a team like West Ham as well, because a lot of people get down on his shooting, but that's only going to increase hopefully at Arsenal. But I think he's definitely not vanilla. He's a lovely chocolate chip cookie flavour, let's be honest. He's in that Ben & Jerry's range.
Suddenly see the ghost of Glenn Whelan every time he tries to pass the ball.
Well, he doesn't think he's Gwen Whelan, so that's good. So, thumbs up there.
I can see that he is a good footballer, but £105 million? Excuse me when I get sick on the floor. Lad, I don't think any football club in the world should ever be paying more than £100 million for someone when they've never played in the Champions League before.
Obviously here he touches on the price, which is a lot of people are touching on this, and for good reason really, but I think there are a set of factors in play of why this is that much. For one, it's what West Ham wanted, and at the end of the day, football has got to the point where you've got to pay these clubs the money that they want for their assets. It's not like 20 years ago where top teams would just waltz around and buy literally anyone off other teams, and teams lower down in the Premier League. They sell their assets for a lot of money. It's been driven by teams like Brighton, for instance, selling all their assets for a lot of money. So you can't blame them. So if West Ham want that money, we tried bidding lower. Everyone was insulting Arsenal by saying we're cheapskates because we went in such a low offer. We tried that, but at the end of the day, especially when Man City came in and bidded, it created a bidding war. It was always going to go up in price. So if we wanted him, we are going to have to pay that much money anyway. You've also got to factor in the price, the longevity of how long he's going to be at Arsenal. Hopefully it's going to be a long time. He's still a young player. He's not even in his prime yet. So 100 million spread over like 6 years, the price goes down dramatically. And you've got to factor in the price that we've taken him off other clubs. There was a lot of interest from clubs like Man City, Man United, Chelsea as well a few years ago. So you're paying that premium because you're not just getting an asset, a great player. You're also stopping the other team. So in theory, you're strengthening yourself and weakening them. Imagine if Man City had got Declan Rice. I think the league looks over it. Most people are just saying Man City's got to walk the title anyway. Imagine them with Declan Rice in the middle as well. So you're not only paying a premium for the player, but you're also paying to take them away from these other clubs. So I think the price is pretty fair in this market, especially when considering players like Enzo Fernandez moved to Chelsea last season off the back of a World Cup for more money. I think it's more than fair to be paying that for a world-class player who's going to go straight in our team and could be a captain in a few years. So yeah, I for one am not that bothered by the price. I'm just glad we got him. I can see the point though, other people saying it's a lot of money, but you've got to think about the current climate.
I just want to be in a controlled environment.
We are acting like Arsenal. Have never made a marquee signing before. I'm sorry, but inside the last 10 years, Mesut Ozil arrived at the Emirates from Real Madrid. He had just scored 27 goals and assisted 81 times in just 159 games with the biggest club of world sport. Those were absolutely bunker stats. I mean, Alexis Sanchez moved to Arsenal after a 21-goal season with Barcelona. I mean, Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang's last full season at Borussia Dortmund, he scored 40 goals. The previous season, it was 39. Those are practically Erling Haaland levels. Can we please stop pretending that paying West Ham a stupid fortune for someone who's got the same last name as the most boring carbohydrate in the world? Stop acting like this is a benchmark, landmark moment in the history of the club. Come on, Arsenal, you're better than this.
As again, he's put up the examples of signing like Alexis Sanchez and Mesut Ozil that we shouldn't be getting our standards. Our standards are too low for signing Declan Rice. But yeah, those are great signings as well. But Declan Rice is an outstanding signing. It's the first time since those players that Arsenal have bought a world-class player that would walk into any team. We've bought an asset that Man City wanted, that Bayern Munich wanted, that Manchester United wanted. We've taken that away from them as well. We've bought a player that would walk into any team and most teams wanted. So if that's not a marquee signing, and I don't know what it is,
It's beautiful.
that's not a statement as well. Taking a player off Man City, a player that Man City wanted as well, for me, is quite the statement. Yes, we've had brilliant players in the past, but he's also a brilliant player, and statistically, he's one of the best midfielders in the league. Look at these stats. Look at these, especially the progressive dribbles ones as well, and the progressive passes. The way he's one of the best players about when he picks up deep, turns and drives. That's exactly what we need. He's just a far better version of Granit Xhaka. I love Granit Xhaka, but he's a massive upgrade on him. And yeah, even statistically, Rice is insane.
Look, I remember the days when Arsenal were physically unable to spend big money on footballers because they were strapped for cash after building that huge spaceship off a ground. I never envisaged that one day to be running a £100 million paycheck for anyone. Christ love, go back to 2009. Arsenal had just been raided by Man City and were only able to spend £10 million all summer. Weirdly, on another versatile Ajax defender. Although, to be fair, Tommy Vermeulen's limbs might as well have been made of timber. I mean, he probably needed his own multiplied shoelaces in case he burst a hat-trick with bending down. This was the same year that Man City were bidding £100 million for Kaka, while Cristiano Ronaldo became the most expensive transfer of all time at 80 million quid. Yeah, both men were Ballon d'Or winners. Rice might have won a free lollipop in a wrestle at school, but that's about it. Oh, no, actually, no, wait a minute. Excuse me, sorry, he also lifted the Europa Conference League, which conveniently didn't exist back in 2009. Look, Scott Parker almost lifted the equivalent of that tournament in 2006, except the Intertotal Cup was just a certificate that you printed off the computer.
So his next point is really that Arsenal haven't spent money for years, and that talking about Man City spending lots of money on like Kaka and how they won Ballon d'Ors and stuff. Declan Rice is never going to win a Ballon d'Or at West Ham. He's been playing for West Ham, and the fact that he's been so elite and his stats are so high playing for West Ham indicates to me that there's way more to come if he comes and plays for a progressive team. So I don't think the fact that he's been playing for West Ham should make this look worse. If anything, it makes him look better if he's playing that well for a West Ham. Imagine the stats when he plays for a world-class team. He's going to be so much better. And no, he's better than... You can't compare him with Scott Parker, man. And the Europa Conference League is massive for West Ham, yeah? Look how happy they were. Look how happy Look how happy Bowen is. You're going to take that away from him? I think it's just a bit rude, mate. Newcastle won that. You'd love it, wouldn't you? You'd love it.
Imagine being told back in 2009, yes. When Arsenal finally did shatter their transfer record and forked out for a 9-figure transfer, it would be for someone who, at the time, was just a 10-year-old child on Chelsea books. I mean, do you really think the name Declan Rice was doing the rounds across London in 2009 when all the coaches being alerted to the Supreme Wonder Kid? No. But if you were told that there was a future £100 million superstar in the Chelsea under-10s, you would assume this was a superhuman, almost Wolverine-esque mutant. Somebody who'd grow to be twice as good as Stevie G. I'd be expecting him to be a Ballon d'Or winner, a future Galactico, not some 24-year-old midfielder with less than 20 career goals.
You know you're getting salty when you bring up a point about it being bad signing because he was 10 playing for Chelsea and his name's Declan Rice, and the fact that a defensive midfielder has only scored 20 goals. I don't get this criticism. He's playing defensive midfield for West Ham. No one criticises like the amount of goals Rodri scores, or when Fabinho was the best CDM in the league, how many goals he was scoring. He was playing defensive midfield for West Ham. Of course, he hasn't scored a lot of goals. Right, just next season, if he doesn't, if he only, he's going to score way more goals. I'm sorry, but he's playing for West Ham, for God's sake. Like, of course, he's not going to score loads of goals. Do West Ham score a lot of goals? No, they haven't. They far exceeded their XG the season when they got into Europe. Last season, their XG was awful. You know, so the fact that you're having to go at a defensive midfielder for not scoring enough goals is just mental to me. If you guys disagree with me, put it down in the comments. Or am I just being mad? I might just be mad. It's not the first time.
They expect this fella to have been a teenage superstar like Wayne Rooney, breaking records at 18. But the cold, harsh fact is that Rice was so ignored as a child that he was just a Chelsea reject playing for Ireland at 19. He was well on his way to carving out the same career as a Matt Holland.
He makes a point that at 19 he was playing for Ireland, which is the whole point. He's salty, by the way, but that he wasn't excelling 19. But can I remind you, he's still young. He's only 24. He's been captain West Ham for years. He's been West Ham's best player for years as well, by the way. And some players don't come into the limelight until later on in life. If we had said this about Jamie Vardy, when Jamie Vardy was that age, when he was 19, he was playing non-league football, you know. So I don't think anyone's past can really, especially at that age, burst on. Not everyone is Kaká or Vinicius Jr. or Michael Owen. You know, no one's holding back like Vardy as a good player, saying he's not a good player because he used to play non-league. No, it's inspiring that he used to play non-league. Some people just take longer to develop. And he was playing for Ireland as a teenager. He's playing international football as a teenager. To me, that's pretty good. You should be happy about that.
Bear in mind, back in 2009, the most expensive English footballer of all time was Rio Ferdinand. It's just for that 30 million quid. Yeah, this figure is more than 3 times that amount.
Yeah, it's more than £3 a month. But have you heard of inflation? 30 million then, which not 30 million anymore. Like, you can't compare like signings that are like 20 years apart. That's just not working like that. Roy Keane was a British record transfer fee at one point. You know, Eric Cantona at one point cost 1 million. You know, inflation exists, so it's hard to compare that. If you're using the price adjusted for inflation, fair enough. But 30 million back then was loads of money, mate. Loads. That's like the 100 million of now. So, got to take into account inflation.
But Rice is not that guy. You're paying £105 million for a bloke who just finished 14th in the league.
So he's now criticising because we signed a player from a team in 14th, right? Nathan Ake has been one of the best defenders this season. Came from Bournemouth. Bournemouth, man. You know. What's your point? Basuma. Basuma's probably not the best example, to be fair. Even if you look at players like Callum Wilson, all signed from teams that nearly got relegated, doesn't mean they're bad. James Maddison, everyone's saying it's a great signing. I think it's a great signing. But he came from a relegated side. It doesn't matter where they came from. It doesn't make him a bad player, does it? He's just a good player in the mess, isn't he, really? It's not his fault that the rest of the team didn't play up to scratch. You know, look at that performance in the Arsenal game against Liverpool. He dominated the Arsenal game against Liverpool. In that Arsenal game against West Ham, the 2-2 draw, dominated the midfield, drove West Ham back into the game in the final, real captain material in the Conference League final, drove them to victory. So, you know, he's a player for the big occasion.
I think if a football club pays £100 million for someone, then Real Madrid should have been sniffing around him too, because they're like the monsters in a quiet place. They ravage through every potential superstar that moves. But I mean, does anyone at the Bernabeu even know who Rice is? I offer Florentino Perez the chance to buy Rice, and he'd probably tell you to reverse potatoes instead. I mean, he still has the number 41, trying to make Rice 41 a brand, right? Like Reg 32. But I hate to break it to you, Declan, but do you not realize that the number 41 has already been popularized by a mid-2000s Canadian indie band who usually just wrote annoying songs for terrible teen films like American Pie? I mean, the biggest song was called In 2D.
He says, he uses the example that Real Madrid weren't trying to buy him, so therefore, why not? And that somehow proves that it's a bad signing. May I remind you that Man City tried to buy him, and Man City are the current champions of the Champions League. They also beat Real Madrid, so I'd rather use that as a argument. Also, Bayern Munich wanted him. World-class teams wanted him. He'd walk into any team just because Real Madrid don't want him. Because I just need to remind you that Real Madrid have so many midfielders already. I don't need any more. It'd just be a waste of money, and they're trying to save up for Mbappe anyway. What a big point, Real Madrid buying him. You know, it's just silly. It's just silly. That's like Willy Wonka buying chocolate. Like, it doesn't make any sense. You know, don't need any more. Don't need it. This is also a Real Madrid that bought Hosselu, so we can't really use them as judgment, really, can we? He's gone too far now. He's put the slander on Sum 41. I'm not having it. I'm not having it. I love them. They're one of my favourite bands. So he's just crossed the line, man.
As for this, buddy, you expect Rice to be one of the greatest English midfielders of all time. Well, here's a sobering reality. He wouldn't have even got into England's Euro 2004 squad. I'm sorry, but Rice would be born in 1980. He wouldn't have got near England's golden generation. And instead, it really would just be marketed as Roy Keane's heir in the Ireland midfield.
It might have been a golden generation, but it was unbalanced and didn't win anything. So, more than happy. He's also played in one of the best England teams ever who've made a semi-final and a World Cup final. So overall, yeah, maybe that's our golden generation, but it didn't bloody work, did it? And Rice is part of one of our best performing England teams ever. So I'd much rather have that than that sorry excuse for a lot who couldn't play for England at all, who didn't have any passion for England. Lisa Scripps got a passion, you know, and he walks into that team. He's the heartbeat of the current England team. Undroppable even. So the fact he's undroppable in one of the best England teams ever, that's all I need to say.
Arsenal spent £200 million in the transfer window. But look, yeah, okay, the Jury and Timber signing from Ajax is brilliant. Yes, but instead of falling for the ridiculous English tax, I reckon Arsenal could just sign a really many from Real Madrid for maybe 85 million. I mean, he's a year younger than Rice, and a much better player. Did you not see at the World Cup? People like to call this guy a Real Madrid flop who never played. That's the narrative, but, I mean, last season, he played 50 games, the exact same number of games he played for Monaco the season before. You could have snapped up a world star like him and signed Romeo Lavia from Southampton, as in young understudy for squad depth, for a combined £130 million.
85 million for Tchouaméni would be way too much, and no way would Real Madrid let him go for that much. It would be the same situation, and he's not as suited to Arsenal. Declan Rice is perfectly suited for Arsenal. We know he's Premier League proven. I'd rather spend a lot of money on a player who's Premier League proven than Tchouaméni, who at the moment doesn't even start in the midfield for Real Madrid. He starts at fullback. So I'd much rather have paid the extra for Declan Rice, and you know he's going to work in the Premier League. You know he has friends in the squad already from the England team, and he's just a perfect fit, man. It's just, don't get me wrong, Tchouaméni is a great player, but I think Declan Rice is a much better fit, and I doubt you'd be able to get him for that much. I don't think Real Madrid will let him go for that much unless they're trying to get Mbappe, as he says in the video. But yeah, I don't think so. I much prefer Declan Rice.
And instead of forking out for that bizarre transfer of Kai Havertz, I think a £35 million move for Newcastle's Alisson Maximin would be ridiculous for squad depth and would give you balance on the wings. Having gone him and Leandro Trossard waiting on the bench in case either Saka or Martinelli slips up, that would be insane business. But instead, just chucking all this money at West Ham, Rice is a good player, I know he is, but he's not worth 105 mil. I know he's not. I mean, is this the future Premier League winning captain? No, he's a better Scott Parker.
One, Kai Havertz is lovely, and it's also quite funny because most of my mates are Chelsea fans, so I've called my fantasy team King Kai, which is hilarious. And I think Kai Havertz is a great sign. He's going to slip in there in the midfield. Lovely stuff. He was so good for Bayern Leverkusen in a deeper role. I recommend watching Statman's Day's video about it. He goes really in depth on it, and I think that's a really good signing. And he goes on to talk about Saint Maximin. I'm sorry.
No thanks, bro.
I don't think this will be a good sign. I really like watching him, but he has no end product at all.
Mid!
His goal scoring record is appalling. Yeah, do all the flicks and tricks running into the box, but where's the end product? The one thing Arsenal do not need is a player who just likes running about a bit and then doesn't finish. It's not. A lot of people criticised Gabby Jesus' lack of finishing. So I don't think we, and yeah, sometimes it can be a bit wasteful. I don't think having a player like Saint-Maximin would help really on that. And our depth on the wings is pretty good already. We have Trossard as well. We got Smith Rowe who plays out wide. We have, and he's not going. Saint-Maximin is nowhere near the quality of Martinelli in my opinion. I don't even think he's better than Trossard. We've also got Reece Nelson, Bukayo Saka. Now Havertz can play on the wings, and also Gabby Jesus can also play on that. I don't think it's a good signing, to be honest. I think he's got Saudi Arabia written all over him. And don't get me wrong, I do think Saint-Maximin is a decent enough player, but the one thing we don't need is a player with no end product. Okay, and like, you know, people used to criticise Theo Walcott for his lack of product at the end. I don't think we need Saint-Maximin really. I don't think he fits at all, and I think it'll be a waste of money. I think Kai Havertz is a lot better for what we need.
Rice is a good player, I know you.
Thank you. He is a good player, and yeah, getting too bogged down in his price, man. There's so many factors about it, and in today's market, who else are we going to get for that quality for cheaper? Apart from Chirmany, because nah, man, no. And we stopped Man City getting him. If Man City had paid this much for him and beaten us to it, everyone would be going, oh, Arsenal's lost their main target. Oh, look, they're crap. They're a small club. They're a banter club. See, but we got him. It's bad, apparently. Look at Boovy, man. Boovy was like going, oh, he's a world-class player when Man City trying to get him. And then he was like, oh, he's overpriced. But then again, Boovy's gone back and said he's world-class again. So I'll let him off. And I love the podcast. So, but yeah, nah. All right, after all that salt, I need to get myself a drink. But yeah, that's the end of that video. And yeah, overall, obviously, I've included the points I wanted to rebuttal in a way. Obviously, the rest of it is just hijinks and comedy, considering that's a mix of the Irish Guys content. But yeah, what do you guys think of this video? Please hit me down in the comments. Who's right, me or the Irish Guy? And yeah, I do like the Irish Guy, but I thought it was too funny not to talk about it. And yeah, hope you guys stick around for the new content coming up on the channel. And yeah, got another obviously in this week as well. My football shirt video is also going to be released, so yeah, stick around for that. And thank you guys so much for watching today's video. Really appreciate it. TTFN, I'll see you next time.